Rather than lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. The transfer market is closed. The transfer window is absolutely over, done and dusted. And I'm happy to say Arsenal did not sign anyone on deadline day. I think happy to say is the wrong phrase to say, but I'm really frustrated that Arsenal didn't sign anyone on deadline day. In the situation in which we are, in that midfield crisis, with that midfield, I don't know how we failed to sign someone on deadline day. It looked like we didn't have options, and it was either Douglas Luiz or actually no one else, and that is what absolutely frustrated me yesterday. But of course, we're gonna be talking about our transfer window, trying to see where do we go from here. Is it a good window? Is it a bad window? Is it okay? Can Arsenal now continue to think of themselves as title contenders? Do we think of ourselves as title contenders with that horrendous and horrific end to the transfer window? Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Let's continue the love. And also in the comment section, how do you rate Arsenal's transfer window? Because look, at the beginning of the window, we were super brilliant. During the middle of the window, we went silent. At the end of the window, we did much of the outgoing business rather than the incomings. And I think, to be honest, we really did have a fantastic window in June. We have just dropped off the cliff. We just fell off the cliff in July and also in August. And I'm really surprised that in August, when most of the players we wanted to leave had left, when most of the priority areas had now come out and mentioned themselves, defensive midfield, central midfielder, and the winger. I'm really surprised that we've not actually signed in anyone. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Mikel Arteta and Edu have failed at their job. There is nothing like failure on Edu's side. There is nothing like failure on Mikel Arteta's side here. I'm really happy with what they've done. I'm just not contented. I'm gonna say this, guys, before we go any further. This should be clipped up and put onto TikTok. 90 more and Kossi Talks Football as well on TikTok. Follow me there. Arsenal are not title contenders this season. Without a defensive midfielder that is consistent, without a central midfielder better than Granit Xhaka, Arsenal should not consider themselves as Premier League title contenders. Not anywhere close. I don't care if we've won 5 out of 5 games. I do not care. We are not title contenders. I've said that, and I'm not going to say it again, but mark my words, by the end of this season, you will remember my words. Arsenal are not title contenders. If there was any little chance of us being title contenders, it was washed away by us not getting a winger on deadline day and also by us not getting a defensive midfielder. Because those are two deals Chelsea managed to get them over the line. They brought in Dennis Zakaria, a defensive midfielder, and they brought in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, a forward. If Arsenal had gone for Douglas Luiz and he refused, there were other options. Go for anyone else. Yesterday I talked about Zakaria and I said a loan deal for Zakaria would be absolutely magnificent, and Arsenal didn't think about that. And then I said, if you cannot get a defensive midfielder, go and get a winger. Noah Lang was available. I think Mikhailo Modric was still available. But of course, all those deals didn't happen. So forget about Arsenal being title contenders. Now, let's start off with this Douglas Luiz transfer frustration. And let me tell you what's happened yesterday, because it was absolutely hot. It was absolute fire. I wanted to come live, but was watching the Man United game, so I decided I will not have two loyalties. Let me serve one master at a go. So what happened? Arsenal did send in a third bid for Douglas Luiz, according to David Onstein, and that bid was around £25 million plus add-ons. It was rejected as well, and that is when Arsenal really grew frustrated. So I think it was yesterday. Arsenal's strategy was get Douglas Luiz over the line or no one else. And I'm really pretty surprised that we went for Douglas Luiz in the first place and not Tielemans, because the doable deal yesterday was Yuri Tielemans. It was a matter of time. It was a matter of signaling Leicester City and telling them we are making a move for Yuri Tielemans. We are finally making the overly awaited bid for Yuri Tielemans. Do not include him in your matchday squad. That is what we had to do. It was a matter of Arsenal making a move for Yuri Tielemans. Forget about all these, physicality issues. Forget all about these defensive part of the game issues. We needed a player. We needed someone in that team. And there is no question here, lads. Douglas Luiz does not improve our starting 11. He doesn't improve our strongest 11. Yuri Tielemans does. Yuri Tielemans is a fantastic fucking world-class player. He improves our strongest 11. And it was the easier deal to do, and we got it wrong. So for me, I'm not giving any sympathy votes for Arsenal, and that is why I've written ourselves off the title charge early enough. Because look, it is not about sympathy votes. We are not going to recreate the Leicester City 2016-17 or 15-16 season. It's not going to happen. The quality with Liverpool, the quality with Manchester United, the quality with Chelsea, the quality with Manchester City, you're not going to run away with the Premier League title just like Leicester City did. And if you still remember, after Leicester City won it, which other club has stolen it? It was only Man United who came close to, and finished second under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And you saw what happened the seasons after that. They have been absolutely crushed. So, guys, it was really not interesting. It was really not entertaining to see. But I think Arsenal allowed themselves to be bullied. Arsenal allowed themselves to be frustrated by Aston Villa. The hopes were that the fact that Leandro Dentonga had gone to Aston Villa, there was a small window, there was a small pocket of optimism that we get Douglas Luiz. But in the last 3 hours, Aston Villa was still saying the same thing. We are not selling. We are not selling. It's going nowhere. And for me, that is the period of time when Arsenal look on their list once again and go, okay, we had Yuri Tielemans, he's not joining us. We had Douglas Luiz, he's not joining us. Let's move on to the other option. Look, I want to believe that it's not about money, and that if it was not about money, we'll actually prove that in January, right? Because in January, after the World Cup, that is when you strengthen your squad. If it was not all about money, then we will get team signings in January. And this makes January a little bit far away now. It makes the January transfer window a little bit far away. Because if you pick up another injury, Arsenal are one more injury in defense, one more injury like this, to crashing. If Gabriel Jesus picks up an injury, if Gabriel Martinelli picks up an injury, if Saka picks up an injury, if William Saliba picks up an injury, if Gabriel Magalhaes picks up an injury, we are one injury. We are one or two injuries from total destruction. And that is why I was frustrated yesterday. Get a defensive midfielder. There's so many other positions where we do not have enough cover because no one is going to cover for Gabriel Jesus. I mean, Edin Ketia is very good coming off the bench and it's had a massive impact. But let's be honest, is Edin Ketia going to give you that consistent performance throughout 90 minutes for 5 consecutive games? He's not going to do that. He's not a top striker. He should be at Brighton. Who's going to play for Gabriel? Who's going to cover for Gabriel Magalhaes? No one. Rob Holding, don't talk to me about that. Don't talk to me about Rob Holding as cover for Gabriel Magalhaes. Who's going to cover for Gabriel Jesus? No one. Who's going to cover for Gabriel Martinelli? Who's going to cover for Saka? That is where our season is going to start crumbling. And look, this is the pain of a team that is still rebuilding, because it gives you a lot of hope. It gives you a lot of optimism, like it did in the window in June. I remember my words in June. If Arsenal can continue down along this road, it's going to be a fantastic summer, and it was going to be a fantastic season. But now that we have actually strayed away, it's literally, driving at 180, kilometers per hour straight on the road, and within a second you whisker into the bushes. That is what we've done. We've literally taken the car off the road and put it deep down in the shrubs, into the bushes, and no one can find our car now. And this is going to be very, very evident in our performances. I don't think Man United will beat us over the weekend. I don't think they have the quality. I think I've watched them play every single minute this season. Actually, I think I missed an Arsenal game this campaign. I've not missed a Man United game this campaign. And I think United are a total replica of where Arsenal have been. They will pick up that 1-0, that 1-0, that 2-0, that 2-1. But when they play a quality side, they will be destroyed. So I won't be very surprised if Manchester City thrash Man United 5-0. And everyone says, oh, Man United is back. They're not yet there. So I don't think we will lose to Man United, but we are going to be tested, especially in that midfield. The likes of Casemiro, you have the likes of Anthony, because if Anthony is going to go against Alexander Zinchenko or Kieran Tierney, because Zinchenko is half fit, Kieran Tierney is absolutely garbage these days. I don't know what's happening to him. He's absolute garbage. So I'm going to say this, guys. The Douglas Luiz transfer frustration happened on deadline day, and it doesn't, for me, mean anything. It is no excuse for us not doing their business early. It is no excuse for us not bringing in a defensive midfielder. It is no excuse for us not bringing in a winger. It's no excuse for us not signing a central midfielder. And we also wanted a backup left-sided centre-back, and we didn't get him. We're talking about the likes of Josko Gvardiol at RB Leipzig. All these names have always been there throughout the summer, and we didn't get no one. So it is not Douglas Luiz only. It is Arsenal, just pulling our foot, off the gas pedal. And I think I'm really scared that we have put our gas off the gas pedal at the wrong time. You're literally climbing. You're on a climbing lane, and then you put your foot off the gas pedal. Literally, what does that mean? You're not sloping. You're going up, and it's so wrong. It has been absolutely wrong. And this is kind of a deja vu situation that we had in January. In January, we wanted one player in midfield. You still remember, lads? One player in midfield. It could have been Athamelo. It could have been Isco. It could have been Zakaria. It could have been Bruno Guimaraes. It could have been any fucking no one. Anyone. And we let Ainsley leave to Roma, raising the optimism again that we will bring in someone. We weakened our squad, and we fucking brought in no one. And it's the same situation here, isn't it? It's the very, very same situation here. Arsenal have gone in. They have let Ainsley again go to Southampton on deadline day. We know Ainsley Maitland-Niles can actually, double as a central midfielder and also as a defensive midfielder. I don't like him. Don't make any mistake. I don't like him. That is part of his squad. And the fact that we extended his contract means he's an Arsenal player for the next 3-4 years. I'm very surprised that Ainsley leaves to Southampton. That weakens our squad. It doesn't end. And no one comes in. It's poor transfer business during the business end of the transfer window. It's absolute pure transfer frustration. Because we wanted Rafinha there. We failed to get Rafinha. The natural reaction to that is go and get option number 2 on the list. And that was supposed to be Pedro Neto. If we were bidding 60 fucking million for Rafinha, why have we failed to pay 50 million for Pedro Neto? He was, after all, he was the second natural option on the list. We had the likes of Noah Lang there. I don't know what happened to that one. We had the likes of Mikola Modric. I don't know what happened to that one as well. Moussa Diaby as well. I don't know what's happened. So look, it's so frustrating, and it's very, very confusing and complicated to analyze Arsenal's transfer window. I can't rate it very, very highly. I think it's been a very, very good one, and we've already seen the results. Of us bringing in these experienced players, experienced winners, and players with pedigree. But it was not enough. And that has always been my problem with Arsenal. It is always not good enough. Look, my predictions for the season are Arsenal get to the top 4, which we still can, but we have just made ourselves second or third favorites for the top 4. Arsenal win the Europa League. It's not going to come that easy. You need to have a consistent squad with this number of games that are going to be coming in thick and fast. You need to have a consistent squad. And you need to have a broader squad. And you need to have a quality squad. You need quality and quantity at the same time. So I thought we would win the Europa League. We finish in the top 4 in the Premier League. And then win the FA Cup as well. Right? That is what I thought. But right now, I'm even more skeptical. I'm very, very skeptical. I mean, if you look at our Europa League, group, it is not that easy. It's not the hardest, yes, but it is not that easy, right? So you have the likes of Bodo Glimt that you can't beat. You have the likes of FC Zurich that you can beat, but those are not easy fixtures, especially when you have to go away from home. But anyway, guys, I need your thoughts on this transfer window. What did you think, especially deadline day? I think the other days have been okay. The other months have been all right. The month that actually let us down is August. Get a good signing in June. 3 good signings in June, including Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, and Gabriel Jesus. July, Alexander Zinchenko, brilliant. August, who is the fucking player that is coming in? That is where we've got it wrong. That is why I'm absolutely fuming. Get someone in August. That transfer was absolutely needed. It was necessary. And Mikel Arteta will look back at this moment and we'll go, all right, this was needed. This was necessary. The moment you have an injury during the transfer period, that is a blessing in disguise, guys. I can't believe we've not taken that opportunity. I can't believe it. I just can't believe we've not taken that opportunity. That is a blessing in disguise. Partey picks up an injury for weeks. Elneny picks up an injury for weeks. And you don't call that a blessing in disguise? During the transfer window, you have an extra 72 fucking hours to get the situation done. And we don't act. We don't act because it's not about just going in the market to try and get someone and fail. It is acting ambitiously. Where is the ambition? Where is the ambition of a club that is leading the Premier League table for 5 game weeks without losing a game? That is where that is where the fans would have seen that we are ambitious and serious this campaign. Like, go in there and say, okay, we are unbeaten, and the defensive midfield should not be a reason as to why we start losing games. I'm personally okay with letting Granit Xhaka play high up the pitch for 38 fucking games because he doesn't pick up injuries. He's only going to pick up a red card at any point in time. He will, and probably 5 yellow cards when he accumulates 5 yellow cards and rests 1 game. So around 36 games, he will be available. But apart from that, guys, there's no excuse for us not to get in a defensive midfielder. I remember saying this. Not getting a central midfielder who was Yuri Tielemans is only excusable if we get in a defensive midfielder. I said that. And mark my words, it is going to come back to bite us. I say this in January. It came true. And I'm very surprised that Arthur Melo has freely walked into Liverpool. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Right? I thought Hausemuwa would have been a very great deal. I thought Naby Fekir was trying to push for a move. All those players were available. Just get one. Just get one of them. Marco Asensio available. Just get one of them. Just add some quality. And, this is one of those situations where a club just needs to add some quality to their side. It's literally adding some little fire to the pan. And we failed to do that. And we've let ourselves down. And I'm not the happiest going around here. So there was frustration on deadline day. But I think overall, the window, we left the right course. We had spent 115 million within the first 2 months of the window. We thought it was going to get better. Outgoings, we've really done well. Incomings, still lacking. Very, very lacking. So, guys, to be honest, I will rank this. If I'm to rate this window, I'm going to say this. We will be rating every player, every signing. We're going to do that. But this is a 6 out of 10 window. This is a 6 out of 10 window. It's not below 6. And 5 is the average. So it is above average, but slightly above average. I'm not going to get deluded. I will not get deluded to say it's a 7, it's an 8. The 6 is because we've let go of players that are useless currently, especially Hector Bellerin. And we've brought in players that have already created an impact, a massive impact. We've brought in players that can, that see a very different picture, players that have a very different kind of vibe and socialization, players that are winners, players that have played under the best manager the world of football has ever seen, players that are Premier League proven, and the prices that we've actually paid for them, 2 Premier League winners who have won the Premier League not just for 1 time or 2 times, but for as many times as they could. And you bring them in for less than 100 million euros. While Man United have signed Ajax's Anthony for 100 million euros. Good business by Arsenal, just not enough. Follow me on Instagram, Kosi_19. Follow me on TikTok, Kosi Talks Football, and 90 more. Follow us on YouTube, and of course, make sure to subscribe to our podcast, Kosi Talks Football, Kosi's Arsenal podcast, and the 90 more podcast. And I will see you very, very soon.